want to acknowledge the storm. And when I acknowledge the storm, this is what I mean. To me, life is like a storm. Life is great sometimes, beautiful rainbows and sunny skies, and then sometimes we have tornadoes and hurricanes and horrible weather, but we ride the storm, right? We figure it out. And to me, that's what trauma is about, acknowledging the storm of life. First thing I want to acknowledge is what the difference is between being trauma-aware and trauma-informed. Being trauma-aware means I'm sensitive to. What that means if I'm trauma-aware is that I look at every one of you and I know you have a story. That there's something going on in your life, whether it happened 20 years ago, it's happening right now, or it's going to happen. We all have a story. That makes sense for our kids too. Every time I go into a classroom and I see a group of kids, or I see somebody messing around, or some say throwing a tantrum, which really is behavior communication, when I see that, I know that something is going on in their life, being trauma aware. But understand that that's what our kids do sometimes too. They put their heads down, they start to yell, they hide under a desk, they walk out, and we think that they're just leaving our classroom. That's not what it really is. They're actually communicating with us. The difference between trauma-informed and trauma-aware is that trauma-informed is I'm aware of what's going on, but I now know how to respond to kids who've been misunderstood, kids who've been traumatized, families who are struggling. Because often we have kids and their families are struggling too. And we'll start to blame families and think, well, if you just did this, if you just did that. But when people are struggling and just in survival mode, it's really difficult to get out of bed every day. So that's the attitude that we take with our kids. Are we soaring their balloons, or are we adding weight to their shackles? That's being trauma-informed. I also want to acknowledge and appreciate teaching and learning, how hard it is. I think it is the greatest profession in the world. I would never do anything else with my life, but it is really, really, really hard. And unless you are married to, partnered with, or know somebody who's a teacher, you have no clue what it's like. Unless you work in mental health services, or you counsel, or you are a social worker, or you're an OT or a PT or a speech path, you name it, you have no idea how difficult it is and the difference we make every single day. It is not cliche. It is the absolute 100% truth.